Hey Jennifer, welcome to the MasterCard Cup. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. We'll let that play on through, put you back in your dress position, and we'll go ahead and take a look at a few things for you. So while we got you back here in your setup, let's first of all just take a look at your posture. Your spine's nice and straight, and on a tilt, legs come down into an unlocked position. You do hold your arms a little bit too far out in front of you, creating sort of almost a straight line with the golf club from this vantage point. So if I were going to work on your golf game, we would revise your posture a little here. We would first of all get you to sort of just rock forward a little, so that would just put your spine a little bit more here. We can keep your legs in the unlocked position that they're in. That's fine. And then from there, let the arms hang down, get your hands a little bit closer to you, and increase the angle relationship between the arms and the golf club from this vantage point here. So definitely need to achieve that angle between the arms and the golf club here. Okay, so just want to get you a little bit more on the balls of your feet, rocking forward towards the golf ball bit, and get those hands just a little bit closer to you. Achieving that position with your arms and the golf clubs critical to helping you achieve better wrist hinge in your golf swing. So let's go ahead and do a little split screen comparison here between you and Chelit Choi. I've got some color-coded lines up on the screen just to use as a visual reference as it pertains to swing playing. And before we go ahead and get into that, I just want you to sort of pay attention to how Chelit Choi is a little bit more, her sternum and her head are a little bit more out over her toes. And that's what I mean by just sort of rocking forward, getting a little bit more athletic ready. And then look at the angle relationship she's definitely creating between her arms and the golf club here. Okay? At that point in time, taking a look at the golf swing, we simply want to draw the golf club back by turning the shoulders, bringing the arms and hands back as well as the golf club, and we want to see this golf club travel back along the red line on plane. Also in the early stages of the golf swing, we want to incorporate some good wrist hinge into play, whereby we're going to transition the club head currently from below and in front of our hands to getting that golf club above and behind the hands, and we're going to see that executed here through good wrist hinge. Okay, so at this point in time, that club head's going above and behind the hands. A really, really important move in the transition of the backswing here. As we continue to work this golf club up to the top, we're just going to work the club from red up towards the blue-yellow V zone. When we finally set the club at the top of the backswing, we want to have the left arm of the golf club pretty much situated on the yellow line, full shoulder rotation, and a stable right side. So taking a look at your golf swing, what I'm also going to do, because we are looking at swing plane, if your hands were a little bit lower, your actual address plane would be down sort of in here. So I'm going to just put another red line on the screen here, because we're really not going to look at the red line that's over your club shaft right now. It's really irrelevant because you're really putting your arms and your club out of position, and the actual golf swing is going to be more in reference to that second red line. So as we initiate your takeaway here, you draw your hands back, definitely inside of the swing plane. We can see you bringing the club back with no wrist hinge at all, and that's to be expected again because of where you started with your arms and your hands. So if you increase that angle relationship between your arms and your golf club, then from there that'll give you an ability to create wrist hinge, but at the same point I think you need to understand what wrist hinge actually is in the golf swing. As we continue to move back here, we see that your arms also compress to your core, almost like you're sort of picking the club up and pulling your arms into your body. We do get a little bit of wrist hinge through this vantage point of the golf swing, but we do see your arms really, really compressing to you. That just means your inner right tricep is folding against your rib cage, and that's causing your left arm to break down. So we can definitely see a really, really different position in the arms. Now you've turned your shoulders a little bit, pretty stable right side. You've rotated off of the posture that you achieved, but you also stood up out of your spinal axis. What we can see here with Chelit Choi is that her spine is in this position. It was also in that position at address. So when we create this rotational movement and bring the golf club back, we want to maintain that spinal position to the top. We don't want to stand up out of the posture that we create at address. Okay, so a little refinement in understanding how to bring the club back. Got to change the arm and club position. Got to bring the club back with more arm extension and rotation. and learning how to create proper wrist hinge. From here, as we create our transition back in the ball, simply want to move our weight from our right foot to our left. We want to fire the knees and the hips laterally to the target, unwind the core and fire the hands. And doing so, we want to make sure we're bringing the golf club from yellow back down on top of red, which is where the club originated. And that's exactly what we can see here with Chela Choi. The golf club has returned back to plane. The other thing we want to observe at this stage of the golf swing is the relationship between the lead forearm and the golf club. Refer to this as the backwards check mark. This simply means the club head right now is remaining above and behind her hands coming into the hitting zone. This is what's going to allow her to create a lot of power in her golf swing, let alone also her ability to hit the ball straight, as we've already noted that the club has returned back to plane, which is a main criteria in producing straight golf shots. Let's watch your transition back into the ball with your compressed arms and your little bit of a vertical position here with your posture. So we see that you send your hands over the top here, and as we send our hands over the top, that's going to have a major influence on the club head. So what's going to be happening here is we're going to be throwing this club head out in front of us as well. So we'll just track that club head coming into the ball, and we can see that that club is coming in steep from over the top, and ultimately it's going to be attacking the ball from the outside. So if we just sort of go ahead and connect the dots, we can get a pretty good visual sense as to how that golf club tracked into the ball. And what that over-the-top move did is it's causing the club to come in steep and therefore attack the ball from outside to inside, which we'll take a look at in a second here. Again, with Chela Choi, her club returned back to plane in this frame. That would be your frame right about here. And then her club simply comes into the ball directly from this red line, or actually in her case, just a hair from underneath the red line. Okay, but let's just assume it's coming in from, you know, this red line here pretty much, and this is what's going to produce straight golf shots for us in accordance to wherever we're aimed. Lastly, assuming that the club face squares up at impact via having a good grip. So seeing that the downswing planes are vastly different, we can go ahead and take a look at the pass of the club. We can see Chela's club is inside the ball, expanding out to make contact. And then the club moves through in a nice natural subtle arc. Your club is stuck outside the ball, dropping down and across to make contact, and keeps moving across the ball. So very simply put, if we happen to square the club face up to this swing path, what will happen is we'll hit the ball solid, but we're going to hit the ball obviously out over in this direction. Okay? If we actually over-release the club to the same path, not only will we pull it in this direction, but we're going to hit some form of a pull draw or pull hook. If we leave the club face open to the path, then we have the ability to sort of block the ball out on line. Because the face was open, we're imparting a little bit of left or right spin, and we'll create a little bit of a fade here. If we happen to leave the club face too open to the path, incredibly, we can start the ball even further right, even though we're swinging left. At that point in time, the club face was massively open. We're going to be imparting way too much left or right spin on the ball, and we're going to hit a block slice. So the end result of the golf shot is dictated based on the timing of the club face. Because the club is coming from the outside, hitting the ball, and moving to the inside, if we happen to square the club face up, the ball is going to follow the red arrow. If it over-releases, continue down the smaller red arrows. Leave it wide open, follows blue, and if we time it properly, it'll follow yellow and everything will be great. Other thing I want to pay attention to here at impact is your right foot is flat on the ground. We can see with Chela Choi that her right heel's off the ground at point of impact. And as she swings through, she comes fully up off that right heel onto the toe of her right foot. We can count all the spikes in that right shoe. This gets her weight to her left side. Let's see what you do with your footwork, if anything, here. Okay, so nothing's, well, a little bit there. So don't be afraid to let that right heel come off the ground sooner. Get up on your toe of your right foot, and that'll carry your swing through to a better finish. The last thing I want to observe here in your finishing position is try to get your hands higher as well. So create better footwork, finish with your hands higher, and obviously that'll get you through to a better looking finishing position for sure. Okay? Overall, some nice athletic qualities in your golf swing. Your hands work well. You bring your hands back, you fire them through. Your core works decent. You coil, you uncoil. You need more footwork, as we just suggested, to get you through to a better finish. And from here, as a little recap, you know, let's refine that starting position. Let's get the arms to hang a little bit better at address. Increase that angle relationship between the arms and the golf club. When we bring the club back, really need to learn how to create proper wrist hinge. Try and get a little bit more arm extension as well. rotating on a better spinal axis with maybe a little bit more turn. From there, at that point in time, then yeah, ultimately learning how to maybe come into this golf ball from an on-plane position is critical, considering it is really the most important dynamic aspect to a golf swing. And unfortunately, those hands are coming over the top, and we're swinging that club from out to in. And then at the end of the day, that end result is going to be indicative based on what the club face is doing. Okay. Anyways, at any point in time, if you ever want to work on any of these aspects of your golf game, certainly feel free to contact me. I'm over at Glen Abbey in Oakville, and be happy to structure a little program for you. Also, if you're involved with any golf tournaments at all, you guys are looking for a unique gift to provide your guests, feel free to touch base. I'd be happy to discuss my swing analysis services. Anyways, I hope you had a great day, and I hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video. Take care.